You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, wanting to vote? Then you should register soon as deadlines are looming near.
The sun coming out. Look at how bright it already is. Temperatures on the rise. We'll have the latest in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And President Biden awards the Medal of Honor to 4 Vietnam veterans who went above and beyond the call of duty. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Pittsburgh police arrest 2 of 4 suspects in an alleged robbery and battery case. On Saturday, officers responded to a call about a man trying to enter someone's house. When they arrived, they found an injured man who said he had been attacked by 4 men, one of whom had a gun. Later, police pulled over a pickup matching a description from the victim and found 3 men inside. 1 ran away, 2 were arrested. Official charges have not yet been filed. The victim is said to be in stable condition at the hospital. It was a deadly holiday weekend on Southwest Missouri roads. The Missouri Highway Patrol reports 6 traffic fatalities statewide in the counting period between 6 p.m. Friday and midnight last night. Half of those were in our area. 3 separate accidents we previously reported. Wayne Sprinkle of Jasper died in a motorcycle crash in Barton County. Bruce Dodge of Wyandotte, Oklahoma died in a motorcycle crash in Seneca, Missouri. And Brian Bradley of Diamond died in a UTV crash near Diamond. Statewide, the patrol worked 107 traffic injuries. Joplin Chamber of Commerce presents its quarterly update to the City Council. The unemployment rate in the Joplin Metro is 3.4%. Job growth has seen a 2.8% increase since the start of the pandemic. And on Tuesday, the council also outlined plans for funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. Joplin receives $13 million that must be used by the end of 2026. The council is considering 4 projects. 3 would be stormwater projects and 1 focuses on wastewater. Southwest Missouri reports its first case of monkeypox. Officials with the Springfield Greene County Health Department say a Greene County resident tested positive for the virus. They say monkeypox spreads through prolonged and close contact. Symptoms for the virus can range from a blistering rash on various parts of the body, fever, headache, and swollen lymph nodes. Authorities say this is the 3rd case of monkeypox reported in the state of Missouri. It's important to keep our furry friends safe during this intense heat wave, and Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pets Hospital has some tips on how to keep pets cool. One is to remember their feet. If they stand on hot pavement for too long, the intense heat can burn off parts of their foot pads.
Dogs especially and cats do not sweat, so they can go into heat stress, heat stroke, and die very rapidly. Temperatures when they reach 75 degrees is when it starts getting really dangerous, because the asphalt alone at 75 degrees is almost 50 degrees hotter. So it can burn their pads to the point of blister and sloughing.
She also says buying paw boots and shaving off some fur could help protect them. Deadlines to register to vote for upcoming elections are nearing. Folks in Missouri are just about out of time for the deadline for the August 2nd primary in the Show Me State. That deadline is today. For the August 2nd primary in Kansas, though, the deadline is July 12th. Oklahomans will also vote on the 2nd, and they need to register by Friday. In Arkansas, the deadline is July 10th for an election on August 9th.
Seems like that the younger folks seems like they don't have the desire to turn out to vote. They don't maybe think that it's important, but it is absolutely important. You know, this is the type of election that we will choose those that are going to be leading this country for the next 2 and 4 years.
London Zoo's lioness Aria shows off some fairly impressive ball skills in her enclosure recently as England prepares to host the Women's European Championship. Male lion Banu did not seem to be interested in these balls. Keepers introduced into the enclosure in the central London Zoo, leaving it to his mate to play alone. That's a big ball. Okay, the zoo said the balls were treated with herbs and spices. England faces Austria at Old Trafford in the tournament opener today.
You know, I think I might have been more interested in soccer if our soccer balls were treated with herbs and spices, but cats, they're just really big, aggressive cats. I mean, but think about it. When you're playing with your cat, it bites you, it claws you. It's just when these ones do it, you're more likely to die if they bite or claw at you a little too much. My cat at home would not have killed me, maimed me maybe, but not killed me. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a fun soccer game to play though.
Getting the Lions together to play a soccer game, it would be interesting to see how that goes.
Just don't kick it too hard in his face.
Yeah, that's when it ends poorly. That goes back to the death situation that you face with that. It's going to kind of feel like Death Valley outside today. It's going to be hot for the rest of the week. We've got this cold front that arrives by Saturday. We may even see an isolated storm tomorrow. Better chances of an isolated storm on Saturday. Summer heat returning next week. Skywatch storm tracker showing us nothing. We got to go out to the northwest. All these showers and thunderstorms to watch. See, they're already starting to fall apart. They're not even going to make it down. You're not going to do anything for us. Here comes the sun, and the sun is doing this. 81 is what it is in Joplin. 83 is what it feels like. Temperatures across the region are pretty much the same. We're all sitting in the upper 70s, and we're starting to get into that 80s club as the day progresses. We're going to reach highs in the lower 100s for most of us. 96 by noon, 101 by 5, 98 by 8, and not really doing much cooling off tonight either. 86 at 11. Starting the day tomorrow, though, about where we were today, upper 70s, and maybe even some lower 80s. 7-day forecast. Excessive heat warning continues today and tomorrow with these temperatures and heat index values pushing 110. There's that brief cool down Saturday, and then we're going to be pushing the lower 100s one more time as we head into next week. So, yeah, it's going to be toasty. Very toasty. I'll try and hide this. That way people don't have to be reminded as to how awful it's going to be.
Just don't change the numbers to what it feels like. Just show what it is.
Yeah,
these at least it doesn't show 110.
Yeah, I don't have to put that on there. I just have to let you know that it's going to be unpleasant.
Hey, well, in all seriousness, we need to take these numbers seriously. When they
We do.
reach this high and we have the humidity on top of it, it's a situation where like heat-related deaths are a thing, and they can happen to your neighbor, they can happen to you, they can happen to the elderly all the time. It's like something that you need to be aware of and to take precautions.
Yeah, and it's the excessive heat warnings too. I mean, you've got to stay hydrated if you're outdoors, take frequent breaks, stay in the shade, get in where it's air conditioned, watch out for signs of heat stroke. I mean, it's a very serious situation. We may joke that it's very hot, but in all seriousness, you're absolutely right. These temperatures can be deadly. So make sure you're checking on your neighbors too.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. Well, up next, despite a temporary block, the 15-week abortion ban goes into effect. We're going to tell you which state. And later, Justin Alberti from the Grand River Dam Authority stops by our studio to talk about the importance of life jackets. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, Florida's 15-week abortion ban will remain in place for now, despite a judge blocking it Tuesday. Planned Parenthood of Southwest and Central Florida filed a lawsuit saying the law violated Floridians' privacy rights. A judge agreed and issued a block on the abortion ban. However, in response, the state's attorney general filed an appeal to the order, which automatically keeps the ban in place. In a statement, Planned Parenthood says they will file a motion seeking to reinstate the injunction and continue to fight to permanently block the ban. Former NFL player Demaryius Thomas had the brain condition chronic traumatic encephalopathy, better known as CTE, prior to his death. According to the New York Times, medical officials at Boston University have confirmed it. 33-year-old Thomas was found dead in his Georgia home last December. Family members thought his death was linked to seizures Thomas experienced after a 2019 car crash. And Boston University researchers believe Thomas most likely died after a seizure, but the Fulton County Coroner's Office has not yet given an official cause of death. Thomas played most of his 10-year career with the Denver Broncos. Some consider him to be among the best receivers in team history. Researchers find health benefits for married patients battling a certain type of cancer and why too much vitamin D can be dangerous. Michael George has today's top health stories.
Doctors are warning about the dangers of taking too much vitamin D. In the journal BMJ, researchers discuss a middle-aged man taking 7 times the recommended level who was hospitalized with severe kidney issues triggered by high calcium levels in the blood. The authors say people may not realize it is possible to overdose on vitamin D and caution these cases are on the rise. Another study in BMJ highlights the benefits of water births for mother and child. Researchers took a look at more than 30 studies between 2000 and 2021 and found women who used a birthing pool to deliver their babies required fewer medical interventions compared to those who received standard care. And when it comes to battling stomach cancer, being married seems to help. That's according to a study in the Journal of Investigative Medicine, which found married patients in the early stages of the disease were 72% more likely to survive. Researchers say that may be due to having a financial safety net and more emotional support. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
With temperatures soaring to 113 in the Iraqi capital on Saturday, zookeepers at the Baghdad Zoo put in special measures to help animals stay cool in the summer heat. Hosing the animals with cold water, using air coolers and makeshift sprinkler systems were some of the ways being used to help it bring a much-needed respite for the animals in the zoo. A pool was specifically built for the Siberian tigers to cool down, while bears, monkeys, and horses were splashed with water using the makeshift sprinkler system. After the fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003, the zoo, once the Middle East's largest, fell into disrepair and was ransacked by looters. Located in Baghdad's Zahra Park, the zoo has since made a comeback, however, and now houses over 1,000 animals. Temperatures are going to be pretty darn toasty as we head into the week ahead. Unfortunately, that's why we do have the excessive heat warning that is in effect. That excessive heat warning is going to run through Thursday, and Skywatch Storm Tracker, as you can see, not showing us much of anything out there, unfortunately. 7th and range line, the sun is coming up. Temperatures already warming up. 81 in Joplin feels like it's 83 degrees. Temperatures across the area sitting in the upper 70s to lower 80s. As we head through the day, we are pushing highs in the lower 100s, and overnight tonight, really not going to see much relief in that area either. Temperatures through the day, most of us in that lower 100-degree range, which is not fun at all. And temperatures tonight not dipping back by much. We're going to be about right where we are now 24 hours from now. And those future heat indexes, oh my gosh, I don't know if you want to look at them, pushing 110. 7-day forecast shows the alert days for today and tomorrow as the excessive heat warning continues. And then some relief on Saturday, followed by increasing temperatures as we head into next week. We've got some tips about water safety from GRDA when the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 returns.
One of the best ways to beat the heat is to get in the water. But before you do that, you need to think about the safety involved in that. Justin Alberti is joining us from the Grand River Dam Authority this morning to give us a few tips.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
One thing we wanted to focus on is life jacket safety, and you guys are offering a program, which is really cool to promote it.
Yeah, for several years we've offered our what we call our I Got Caught program, which is I got caught wearing my life jacket. So our GRDA police officers on the lake, they have they're well stocked with some really nice T-shirts. And if they're out on the water and they see a boat, and maybe the kids or the adults are all wearing their life jacket in the boat, they'll pull them over and reward everybody for doing the right thing with a T-shirt. So it's a program we've had for several years on the lake. It's a very popular program. We change the design of the T-shirt a little bit each year, but really what it's all about is promoting life jacket use. Priority number one: wear that life jacket.
All right, and what are some important tips about a life jacket? There's different styles of life jackets. Is there certain ones that are better for different age groups?
There are. Well, the main thing is to find one that fits you. You know, don't buy a life jacket that your child has to grow into. If you're going to the lake this weekend, make sure they got on a life jacket that fits them today, for their size today. You know, make sure when you put it on, you cinch it up well. Get them in the water, test it. If it kind of floats up over their head a little bit, cinch it up a little more. If it continues to float up over their head like it's going to come off of them, maybe it's time to try a different size. So if you're going to go out on the water, if you've not been in a while, check those life jackets for rips or tears or things like that. Never use a flotation toy to
Right. Those
substitute
little
for a life
blow-up
jacket.
things,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Get a life jacket, and you mentioned it. There are different styles today. You know, once upon a time, it's the big bulky thing that just kind of goes around your neck, which we still see a lot of those, right? But today they make life jackets in all shapes and styles. So get one that fits you today, that's comfortable today. Put it on and wear it. And mom and dad, wear your life jacket to help kind of set the example for your kids.
I know when I was a kid, I'd always put my life jacket on, and then my mom would follow up with what I put on and then cinch it up like 2 more inches.
A little tighter, yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure it stays on.
Yeah. Well, you don't want it coming off. So
Right,
That's
right.
always a good thing.
So it's
how
important.
accurate are the poundage? Because they'll say like what weight they're good for. Like, is that a good estimate to go off of?
That's pretty accurate, yeah. That's pretty accurate. And just as long, again, as it that it fits you really well, you know. And again, depending on what you're going to be doing, you know, if you're going to be riding a jet ski, you may want a little different style life jacket than if you're just riding in the boat or things like that. But again, there are plenty of options out there today. So you know, even the kind that just kind of go around and buckle and that inflate when you hit the water. So there's all different styles so you're still able to move freely and do everything you want.
What are the rules specifically if you're boating in Oklahoma? I know every state may vary a little bit, so you want to check into where you're vacationing. But what are the rules for life jacket requirements?
Well, if you're in Oklahoma, the requirement is on any child 12 and under has to have a life jacket on, and you need to have one on your vessel for everyone. So
does the seat cushion count as a life jacket?
the seat cushion, you know, in an emergency, the seat cushion's great to have, but it really doesn't count as a life jacket because when you hit the water, you know, if something was to happen, you were to be in an accident, there's really not time to grab that jacket. So, and we've actually, at the boat shows in the winter, our officers have done a demonstration with that to where they put kind of the goggles on, and you got a timer, and you're kind of in the boat, and you've got to react and get the jacket on and see how quickly you can get the jacket on. So we just really stress that everybody just puts them on when they go out of the dock.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about the life jackets?
No, just boat. We always stress boat safe, boat smart, boat sober, and the boating safe part starts with wearing a life jacket.
Okay, I'd like to keep you around if you have time
Sure.
to a little bit later in the show to discuss some more water safety tips.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll
Great.
do that.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, we'll see you after the break.
It's time now for us to honor today's four-state hero, Leo DeMoss. Master Sergeant Leo DeMoss served in the Air Force from 1952 to 1973. He served in Southeast Asia, Korea, and Thailand with the 319th Bomb Wing Unit. A native of Cherryvale, we salute you, today's four-state hero, Leo DeMoss. President Biden awarded 4 men who fought in the Vietnam War the nation's highest honor for military service. President praised their heroism on the battlefield, now more than 50 years later, saying time has not diminished their bravery. Deborah Alfarone has more from the White House.
At the White House, President Biden gave the Medal of Honor to 4 Vietnam War-era soldiers who went beyond the call of duty.
Today, we're setting the record straight. We're upgrading the awards of 4 soldiers who perform acts of incredible heroism.
Staff Sergeant Edward Kanashiro's son, John, received the award on his behalf. Kanashiro was shot and killed in battle 4 months after bravely repelling an attack on his unit in 1966.
I know that no award can ever make up for the loss of your father, but I hope today that you take some pride and comfort in knowing his valor is finally receiving the full recognition it has always deserved.
From 1968 through 1972, Specialist 5 Dwight Birdwell, Specialist 5 Dennis Fujii, and Major John Duffy all put themselves in harm's way to repel enemy attacks on their units, rejecting medical treatment for their injuries while allowing other wounded troops to flee to safety. During the ceremony, President Biden gave a nod to the federal government's efforts to review the service of Asian Americans, Native Americans, and Pacific Islanders, noting the diverse backgrounds of Tuesday's honorees.
For those who give their best for our country, we'll always, always give our best to you.
Since taking office, President Biden has also awarded the Medal of Honor to 4 other service members. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Yesterday's ceremony comes just days after the death of Herschel Woody Williams, who was the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient for his service in World War II. He will lie in honor in the U.S. Capitol later this week. Another half hour of news and weather just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Justin Alberty returns to the show to give us water safety tips for both boating and leisure. And we'll have tips to safely dispose of your 4th of July fireworks. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We're going to be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Pittsburgh police arrest 2 of 4 suspects in an alleged robbery and battery case. On Saturday, officers responded to a call about a man trying to enter someone's house. When they arrived, they found an injured man who said he had been attacked by 4 men, one of whom had a gun. And later, police pulled over a pickup matching a description from the victim and found 3 men inside. 1 ran away, 2 were arrested. Official charges have not yet been filed. The victim is said to be in stable condition at the hospital. Holiday weekend made for some deadly roads in southwest Missouri. The Missouri Highway Patrol reports 6 traffic fatalities statewide in the counting period between 6 p.m. Friday and midnight last night. Half of those were in our area. In 3 separate accidents we previously reported, Wayne Sprinkle of Jasper died in a motorcycle crash in Barton County. Bruce Dodge of Wyandotte, Oklahoma died in a motorcycle crash in Seneca, Missouri. Brian Bradley of Diamond died in a UTV crash near Diamond. Statewide, the patrol worked 107 traffic injuries. The deadlines to register to vote for upcoming elections draws near. Folks in Missouri are just about out of time. The deadline for the August 2nd primary in the Show Me State is today. For the August 2nd primary in Kansas, though, the deadline isn't until July 12th. Oklahomans will also vote on the 2nd, and they need to register by Friday. In Arkansas, the deadline is July 10th for an election on August 9th.
So if somebody wants to register, you have tomorrow is the last day for you to do that. So you can come by our office here in Carthage, or you can go to the Courts Building in Joplin, room 200, and we'll be more than happy to get you registered to vote for August.
Again, that interview was recorded yesterday. The deadline in Missouri is today, not tomorrow. Missouri is not the only state voting soon. For the August 2nd primary in Kansas, the deadline to register is July 12th. Oklahomans will also vote on the 2nd. They need to register by Friday. And again, we're just repeating this. In Arkansas, the deadline is July 10th for an election on August 9th. Remember, you can download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information, koamnewsnow.com/elections. The website will include resources for all the 4-state area, such as polling places, deadline dates, and you can even check to see if you're registered to vote. Once again, koamnewsnow.com/elections. With the 4th of July behind us, many of us who set off fireworks may not know how to dispose of the leftovers properly. Properly disposing of fireworks is important for the environment and for safety. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Everybody loves watching fireworks light up the night sky. However, not everybody knows how to properly dispose of fireworks.
Our best advice is to soak it in a bucket of water overnight, preferably. Once you get it good, wet, saturated, put it inside a plastic bag, double bag it, tie it real tight so that the material doesn't dry out. And then from that point, you can dispose of it with your normal household garbage.
If you're used to fireworks, be cautious. Even fireworks that you think are spent can still carry a fuse.
There have been instances that fire departments had to respond to of house fires where they've taken expended fireworks, put them in a trash can, put them in a garage, they go to bed, and then they wake up and their garage is on fire. So it is possible.
Storing fireworks in your home is still dangerous. Fireworks are small explosives.
So my recommendation is don't store them. You're better off setting them off. And if you're not going to set them off, soak them in a bucket of water like I talked about.
The fire department is well trained to handle any firework mishap you may have.
We're not in the business of citing people. We're not in the business of causing people trouble. So if you have any type of mishap, call 911 immediately.
In Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Officials say the weather can also play a role in fireworks getting out of hand. Just be safe. Beyonce has earned a new honor alongside music legends Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. She is now the third solo artist and the first female in Billboard's history to have 20 top 10 hits on its Hot 100 charts, plus 10 as a member of a group. Beyonce's latest hit, Break My Soul, becomes her 20th top 10 hit as a solo artist. She also has 10 with her former singing group Destiny's Child. Jackson tops the list with 30 solo top 10s, along with 11 as a member of the Jackson 5. And McCartney is second on that list with 23 solo top 10s, along with 34 with the Beatles. It's hard to beat the Beatles.
So did you happen to notice the little banner below her? It said Queen Bee. You know why she's called Queen Bee?
Please.
She's the Queen Bee of the Bay Hive. Michael Hayslip and I, a few months ago, had a very serious and in-depth discussion about the posses that, you know, surround some of our pop stars today. And I remember Bay Hive.
The Bay Hive, yes.
It. Yeah.
Michael is actually a member of the Bay Hive.
He told me about that. He did tell me that he was a member of the Bay Hive, formally inducted in everything, special ceremony involved, the whole 9 yards. So if you're going to be a member of something, there are worse things to be a member of, so might as well be part of the Bay Hive.
There you go.
We are members of the...
The Heat Hive.
Yes, we are members of the High Temperature Club. Skywatch Storm Tracker. Not really going to do much for the next few days, unfortunately. This activity breaking apart to our northwest will not have an impact on us. The sun is shining, it is warming up, and there it is, 81, feels like 83, dew point at 66, humidity is at 60%. There is a breeze, but it's not really going to do much. Most of us now into the upper 70s to lower 80s. We're all starting to join that 80s club, and it's just now 7:36 in the morning, if that gives you a clue as to how warm it's going to be, pushing into the lower 100s, 96 by noon, 101 by 5, 98 by later, and then it's not going to really cool off much as we go through the evening. Clear skies, though. That's a plus, right? Clear skies. We're going to be dipping back into the lower 80s to upper 70s, so 24 hours from now we'll be roughly right where we are. Temperatures today, we're going to be pushing lower 100s for most of us, and then the heat index values are also going to be pushing up to 110. That's why we have an excessive heat warning that runs through tomorrow for all of southeast Kansas and all of southwest Missouri. We'll have more on the full forecast, including the 7-day outlook, when the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 returns.
All right, I've got Justin Alberti joining me again from the GRDA here to talk about boating safety specifically. Last segment we focused on life jackets, but now we're looking at the big picture. Once you've got your life jacket, you're in the boat, what do you need to do to stay safe out on the water?
Well, first of all, it starts with just using some common sense. You know, the lake is big enough for everybody to come enjoy, so watch out for the other guy. We've seen large crowds. Of course, we're just coming out of the 4th of July, very large crowd on the water. We expect to see that pretty much all summer. I mean, look what the weather's doing. So it's going to be hot, right? So get out on the water, use common sense, watch out for the other guy, boat smart, know something about the vessel you're going to be operating. You know, don't just jump in it cold and take off and go. Have a understanding of how it steers and the horsepower and things like that, how it operates. Do things like what we call file a float plan. So
a float plan.
if you're in the boat, or
Let's
if you're on maybe on a personal watercraft, you know, you're camping or you're at somebody's lake house, let somebody responsible on the shore know where you're going to go and how long you're going to be gone. You know, maybe say, hey, I'm going to take the jet ski out for an hour or so. I want to run up this cove or whatever, so that if something does happen and you don't come back when you're expected to, they kind of have a general idea of where you were going to go and what you'd plan to do. Certain things you want in your vessel. You want a whistle. You want working lights for when you're out there at night. Of course, we've already talked about life jackets on board for everybody. Some kind of bailing device. A lot of boats require you to have a fire extinguisher, things like that on board. Just some general safety equipment that you need on your vessel before you head out on the water.
Well, and one thing that people may not think about, you know, it's hot. You deal with a lot of heat exhaustion and stuff. you don't necessarily want to drink the water that's out there. So like you need to bring stuff to keep you hydrated and safe while you're on the boat, so it keeps your senses.
Absolutely, stay hydrated. You know, a lot of boats have a canopy. Not all boats have a canopy, so sunscreen's your friend. Maybe a big brimmed hat's your friend. You know, the sun beating down on you. You combine that with the wave action and everybody else out on the water. You know, it can be a little. It can disorient you just a little bit. So that's why we also stress what you are drinking. Make sure it's water or something that keeps you hydrated, but avoid the alcohol. Don't drink and boat, because alcohol can dull those senses just a little bit. And if you're operating that vessel, you've got people out on the water all different directions. You've got the sun and the wave action, things like that, and you really need to have your senses about you to operate a boat. In certain areas of the lake, obviously where it's crowded. If you're going to go back up into a quiet cove, like a lot of people like to do, and just kind of raft up and park it, that's great. But again, in those areas, hey, stay away from the back of the boat. And if you're in those areas and you're trolling through there, watch out for the other guy. You know, people floating in the water, maybe on one of those big pads or something like that. So just use common sense and be careful.
What are some big mistakes that you see people experiencing when they're on the water?
We see excessive speed a lot of times, maybe not obeying the no wake zones. So excessive speed is one. Driver inattention is something we see a lot as well, where they just didn't see the other guy, or they just weren't paying attention. There's just so much going on, they just didn't see what was happening. So those are two big ones we see. And again, you know, life jacket use, you know, we don't always see life jacket use, so that's why we continue to stress it. You know, so those are the things really that are kind of key. Also, it's important to mention, kind of know the area of the water you're going to be in, maybe what the water depth is, you know.
And that changes a lot with which each season too. How are lake levels out at Grand Lake?
Lake levels are right about normal right now, so we're seeing it about normal. But at other times of the year, they may be up, they may be down. If they are up, things you look for are maybe the topography of the shoreline's changed a little bit. So something like a picnic table or a trash can that might have been right on the shore may be underwater now if you're boating when the level's up. And conversely, if the level's down, maybe you're a little closer to a little less water underneath your boat than you thought there was.
Okay. And you talked about the no wake zones. There's different reasons for those. There's a reason for no wake zones.
Yeah, there's a reason for no wake zone, to watch your speed, maybe under a bridge or something like that, where the passage gets a little tight. We want you to go slow under there. Then also no wake zones are in place so that your boat doesn't throw a wake up onto somebody's property, somebody's dock, you know, can cause damage. So we want you to be in those certain coves, we want you to be aware in those areas where it's a little tighter, so that you're not throwing big waves onto somebody's dock or causing somebody some property damage.
Okay. Anything else you want to add about boating safety in general?
If you're out there and you have an emergency on the water, our officers ask that you dial 911. If you don't have access to your cell phone, you can also use Marine Band Channel 16 on your boat's radio.
All right. Channel 16?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming in this
Thank
morning.
you.
You can watch both of these segments on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, later this morning to learn all about life jacket and boating safety. We'll be right back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, oil prices dipped below the critical $100 a barrel level yesterday on worries about the threat of a recession, which would slow demand. That could lead to more relief at the pump. Average U.S. gas prices are still hovering around $4.80 a gallon for regular, which is down from more than $5 a gallon just weeks ago. Food and Drug Administration is suspending its ban on Juul's e-cigarettes while the company appeals the order. In a tweet, the FDA says it's determined there are scientific issues that warrant additional review. Last month, the FDA told Juul to remove its e-cigarettes from the U.S. market unless it could prove the product benefits public health, though a federal judge put a temporary block on that order. And Scandinavian Airlines says it filed for voluntary bankruptcy in the U.S. SAS Airline Group, based in Stockholm, Sweden, is warning that a strike by 1,000 pilots puts the carrier's future at risk. For flyers, the walkout could force the cancellation of about half of its flights every day. SAS is part owned by the government of Sweden and Denmark. We'll be right back. More after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Forget the traditional goldfish pond. A Kentucky man has turned an eel pit into his man cave. Taking care of the squirmy pets is a pastime that would make some people pass out. But as Jeannie Moose reports, the eels are reeling in fans.
Hi, everybody.
When Nick Tobler goes down the hatch, he's heading for his eel pit. He's got a feel for eels.
If I were to try to pick her up, which I kind of do here, she would dart off.
And you think eels are cute?
Oh, I think they're adorable. I think weird things are cute. I don't know. I like weird stuff.
Nick is a manager at a Kentucky pet shop and was delighted when he discovered his house had an underground receptacle to collect rainwater underneath the garage.
My house came with a cave.
And what better to stock it with?
We have eels.
Than mail-order eels. Online fans follow every wriggle and squirm as he dangles worms.
You can see right when he sees me there, he starts getting excited for this worm.
I had them eating out of my hand within 3-4 days.
The internet ate it up, especially when it came to naming the eels. From the biggest, Crunchwrap Supreme, named after a Taco Bell favorite, to the smallest.
Here's a little bathtub.
Often names included the eel from Shaquille to...
This is tequila. Tequila.
And the supremely popular...
Mentally Eel, that's a fan favorite. Mentally Eel has single-handedly cured my depression, is what most of my comments are saying about it.
Nick's own online nickname is Cow Turtle. He set up a director's chair overlooking the eel pit and is thinking of adding a hammock.
This is about as good a man cave gets.
And within Nick's man cave, the eels have their own man caves to retreat to as they worm their way into the hearts of everyone except the worms. Jeannie Moose, CNN.
We have eels.
New York.
That's a lot of eels. Gabe, what do you think? He says it's a lot. You can't hear him because he's being very shy right now, but he's usually not. I promise you. Anyway, something else that's not going to be shy, the heat. Check it out. Hot through the week. Cold front, in quotes, because it's not going to be really cold. It's going to arrive by Saturday, though. Might even see an isolated storm possibly tomorrow. Better chances Saturday, and then the heat's going to return. So let's talk about it. Skywatch Storm Tracker, nothing to show you. Off to the northwest, you're watching this dying batch of showers and thunderstorms roll on through. 7th and range line, the sun is shining, and temperatures are going to begin climbing. 81 in Joplin feels like 83. Dew point 66. Humidity is at 60%. Check it out, though. More of us are joining the 80s club, and that's the way it's going to be as we head for a high in the lower 100s with an excessive heat warning today and tomorrow. Heat index values pushing 110. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 when we come back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The suspect in the Independence Day parade shooting in Illinois is expected to appear in court today. Robert Cremo is facing 7 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say more charges will be filed later. They plan to ask the judge to hold the 21-year-old without bond. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson may be clinging to power after the resignations of 2 senior cabinet members. Both said they had lost confidence in Johnson due to his office's shifting explanation of a sexual abuse investigation of a former aide. Yesterday, President Biden awarded the Medal of Honor to 4 Vietnam War veterans. Soldiers had previously been decorated for their actions. Pentagon officials recently reviewed the men's records and found that their service had not been fully recognized.
It's going to be another hot one today as we head for a high in the lower 100s for most of us. You can see 101 by 5 o'clock under sunny skies. Overnight lows not dipping off by much. About 24 hours from now, we're going to be in the exact same spot we are. Lower 80s overnight, and then an overnight low topping out in the upper 70s. 7-day forecast. We've got an excessive heat warning today, and it runs through tomorrow. Temperatures sticking through the lower 100s. Maybe some relief on Saturday before the lower 100s comes back again to start the next week.
Well, an iconic food turns 85 years old. It's Spam, the spiced ham product invented by Jay Hormel for his New Year's Eve party in 1936. Hormel's canned creation got the first 2 letters of its name from the word spice and its last 2 letters from the word ham. Now, Spam made its official public debut 1 year later in 1937, and a few years later, The pre-cooked meat was used to help feed troops during World War II. Spam has since become part of pop culture with its own namesake museum in Minnesota and inspiring a famous joke from a Monty Python flying circus skit. It's still a popular item on store shelves today. Hormel says it sold more than 9 billion cans of Spam over the past 85 years and counting.
That is a lot of Spam. My wife's grandfather was in the Air Force in World War II, so he would eat Spam at home, and so it turned her onto it, and so she really likes Spam too. So that's what's going to keep the customers going. Spam
is a great thing to take with you when you're camping. I mean, you don't have to have it refrigerated, so
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, not a bad camping tool.
Yeah, not too bad for Spam.
Fell off the box.
There you go.
Thank you so much for letting us put you in the morning. We're going to be back here with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.